Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another full body workout. And we got a little bit further with the front squats today. Something else that's been going on, I'll probably discuss later. I didn't even think about mentioning it because I hadn't thought about it. But yeah, I do have an issue with my right foot that's been going on that has probably contributed to me pulling the erector on my left side because it's been happening for weeks. And I don't want to get into all that. I don't want to get into all that. But yes, I am on antibiotics, and yes, I've had to have my bottom of my foot lanced open and everything else. And it just occurred to me in the last few days, actually yesterday, oh, that's probably a contributing factor to why I pulled the erector on the opposite side from that, because it has made it harder for me to train. And yes, this was happening even when I was doing my heaviest sets a few weeks ago. But as my foot is healing, hopefully this problem goes away. So I'm going to continuing with the plan with the front squats. I finally did 3 sets with 225 today, and the plan is that I want to get to 3 by 8 with the 225 beltless front squats with no real back pain in my erector or hip or anything before we increase weight. And I'm just going to rebuild using volume front squats. We're going to rebuild and rehab all of this. And it's like with everything else, guys. It's what the real experts are saying is that, for lifters, back injuries like that or back pain, you don't stop training. You just correct what you're training. You correct what you're doing. The worst thing you can do is to let scar tissue and stuff accumulate. But fortunately, mine was not a major injury. And that's what people need to realize. It's like everyone's like, oh my God, Jason's hurt. Did you see me stop training? Of course not. I'm not hurt that bad, guys. It's a muscle pull. These things happen. But I do want to prevent it in the future, and so I've adjusted my training accordingly. And by that same token, I'm cutting, and we know that recovery can be limited when in a calorie deficit. So I am going to be looking at exercise selection a little closer of how can I get the most muscle stimulation for the least systematic recovery problems. And I don't necessarily like to do that because I am all about strength, but if I can get a little more training volume in on big compounds that will stimulate just as much hypertrophy in my big muscles without beating up recovery quite as much, then that's things that I need to be thinking about. And that will allow me recovery room for stuff like deadlifts as I continue to progress. So yeah, the front squats. But I did notice on the third set of 5 with the 225, I did feel a little bit of tightness. It did hurt just a little bit when I racked it. And that's what I have to watch. Sometimes the pain that I'm getting from this isn't actually from the sets. And that's what people need to understand. For me, it's posterior pelvic tilt. Like right there, if you saw a little bit of posterior pelvic tilt when I racked it, that's where I'm actually getting the pain. That's actually where I'm hurting when I do squats. It's not actually on the work sets. So just for people who weren't aware of that, it's not actually during my squatting that I'm experiencing problems. It's the re-racking. And I've got to really, really watch posterior pelvic tilt at that point. So I went ahead and did floor presses today because I'm like, you know what? The benching and everything's been going good, the closed grip benching, but I want to do some floor presses for a while. Number one, I can just leave my bench set back there. 2, again, you're forced to use a slightly lighter weight, and I'm still hitting all those target muscles. Because I'm front squatting, and I'm putting a really high priority on the press, the standing press, I'm not that worried about, am I getting leg drive training and everything on the bench. Let's just go ahead and just build my dead stop training on all this stuff, right? So I went back to the floor press. Did I lose a rep? Yes. Now, couple points here on the floor press. Number 1, unless you are a super straight bencher like me, do not try to use your bench press weight on the floor press. A lot of you guys like, I bench 275 for a triple on the bench press, but your form is sloppy. You bounce, you don't pause a long time. You guys know what I'm talking about. You get on the floor press and you're going to find that 275, you're going to get pinned on the first rep. All right, watch this stuff. There's no room for BS on this exercise. You can hurt yourself banging your arms against the ground. You got to be careful. Number 2, you notice that I touch my chest on it? I laugh at people who are like, the floor press is a partial. Like, well, you guys you're not very thick, you're small. And so when you guys look at proportions, people forget, because I'm not ripped and because I don't have massive biceps full of synthol and stuff, So they see me and see my proportions, and they think I have something like 14 or 15-inch arms. It's just kind of laughable. Guys aren't realizing that I've had a DEXA scan come back with over 180 pounds of fat-free mass at 5'9". So I'm not as small as some people are thinking, and that's why when I joke and say that I'm bigger in real life than I look on camera, the floor press should give you guys a real good idea. I'm touching my chest on a floor press. So that should put some stuff into perspective there in terms of just overall thickness and things. I mean, you can't cheat that. You guys are looking at it right there. It is what it is, and I don't have short arms. So you guys notice my arm span is actually relatively long. I don't have short arms. I don't got T-Rex arms. So a lot of it has to do with my proportions because my rib cage and stuff is so big. My back is thick. My chest is thick. My arms do not always look as big as they actually do measure. You guys might be surprised if I were to hang out with some of these sub 200 pound YouTubers. It just is what it is, guys. Pull-ups were a little tough today, though. After those floor presses, but I got them done. But as far as all the pressing strength goes, though, I'm happy with the pressing strength. It is benefiting from me just going back to maintenance calories for a couple of weeks while I've been healing, because that's the other thing too. I've been battling this lower back pull, and I'm battling an infection, and I've just been training through it. And that's one of the downsides to cutting. People have to remember, I cut a lot of weight this year, and that's something you need to be aware of, guys. When you guys are cutting body weight, you tend to get sick easier. Your immune system goes down. In my case, I got an infection that I needing antibiotics and stuff for. But I'm just training through it. I'm just getting extra sleep, trying to get extra vegetables and stuff in my diet, and just pushing on through. It's all good, though. So with all of that being said, I do feel like being back at maintenance calories and not dropping any weight for a couple of weeks has been very, very productive in terms of just the pressing strength. So that's good. And it's kind of funny because people are like, oh man, you're shrinking, you're looking smaller in some of the videos. And it's like, guys, I've picked up like 3 pounds since a couple weeks ago because I'm not in a deficit right now. I've regained a hair of water. I'm up 3 pounds. There's no way I look smaller. It is what it is, though. But the pressing strength has been good, and I decided to go ahead and go beltless on my standing presses today. So I'm like, you know what? I just need to get more beltless training in again. I'm doing the front squats beltless. I'm going to do the press beltless. I just need to strengthen my whole core up more. So that I can avoid any further erector pulls. So again, I've been doing a few extra crunches. Like sometimes I'm doing crunches when I lay in bed at night. I've been doing crunches sometimes with my bands over on the chin-up bar. Just a little bit of ab work, a little bit of extra ab work. Drop the belt, do more beltless training for a while. So I'm just trying to make sure that my core is nice and strong. So I went ahead and went beltless on the press, and here's where I ran into issues, man. Everything was good, right? Like my normal weight here I did last time with the belt from my 3x5, I got it. It was no problem, right? I was good to go till I got to that AMREP set. And boy, that didn't go that well. You guys are going to laugh. And that goes to show that I've been sandbagging these 5s. Meaning I'm probably not using my 5-rep max. Because I took the belt off and I've hit the exact same thing that I got last time, which was a micro load up. Because I've been doing 2.5 pounds lighter. I threw an extra 2.5 on, did it with the belt last time. Did it beltless today. Then I went up to my AMREP set, which I got for 4 reps on Monday. I couldn't get a third. I could not lock the 3rd rep out. I had to give up. It was done. So that can kind of show what's going on there, that, the belt is helping a little bit. So I want to get this beltless press up. I want to get my beltless press up. Again, getting that core stronger. But it also goes to show that sometimes, we get a lot out of a belt, a lot more than we think we do. We really do. People are always like, I don't get that much out of a belt. I don't get anything out of a belt. Yeah, till you go to do an AMREP set, or you go to do a true max. Yeah, you get weight out of a belt. I know I get 20 pounds out of a belt on a squat. I know I do. I bet I get 10 pounds out of it on the press. In other words, I bet you my 225 presses I was doing, I bet you I couldn't have hit those without that belt. I bet you 210, 215 back when I was doing the 225 press every day for my Bulgarian training. I bet you I couldn't have even hit 220 without the belt. So keep that in mind, guys. We do get something to the belt, because right here, failed it, couldn't lock it, only got a double. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.